here. So I was able to use the RF 7200 on a couple of jobs as well as 2 weddings, and I want to kind of share with you guys some experience on actually using this lens. Now, the RF system is completely new to me. It's my first RF lens. In my previous video, I did an unboxing, which I'll leave a link up here where you guys can kind of check it out and see what that's all about. But kind of getting into this video, I want to talk to you guys about real world use, how I use it, what I've learned from using an RF lens, and is it worth upgrading to? What's going on, guys? Ricky Chung here. Welcome back to my channel. So yeah, again, the other day I was able to go out on a personal trip into the city using the RF 7200, as well as shooting 2 weddings with it and 2 projects. So under those circumstances, I'm able to kind of put the lens to the test and see if it's a lens that might be worthwhile for you guys to purchase or upgrade to if you currently own the EF system. Now let's get right off the back. I'm a sucker for design. Now, in my previous video, I had mentioned that the 3 generations of the 7200 have basically been identical. Long, big, heavy, huge. This lens is completely different. I love the size of this lens. There are positives and negatives for a lens this size, especially from the 70 and 200 range. Now I'll kind of get into that, but let's talk about design. This camera lens is beautiful. I mean, it is small, it is compact, it is something totally new from the 70-200 range. Now, if you look at any manufacturer from Sony, Nikon, Canon, all the abouts, the 70-200 is pretty much a standard size. Canon has really made something very different in the RF version. And moving ahead, I hope that they kind of put more ideas and more engineering into future lenses. So yeah, let's be honest, the 7200 from any Canon manufacturer has amazing image quality. I mean, that particular range, the 70 to 200, 2.8, it's been a gold standard for so many professionals for years. Also has this 5 stops of image stabilization. Now, right off the bat, when I hand hold, and I'm actually looking through the viewfinder or the flip out screen, I do notice the stop and a half difference compared to the older version. Now, 5 stops of image stabilization is actually pretty huge. I've used it and I do notice the difference. The motors itself is, I wouldn't say it's completely silent. You do hear the motors work. Now I must say autofocus on this lens is actually what I feel quite a bit faster than the EF version. Now the EF version is no slouch. I mean, I used it on my 5D Mark IV for years and it's fast focusing lens, but the RF 7200, I feel like it's just that fast. I don't know what it is. I can touch the screen and it's almost instant. Really cool feature about the 7200 is the manual focus ring. Now, for those, I know it's it's a quick, fast autofocus lens, but if you guys are into cinematography or you guys are shooting video and you want to create that fine-tuning manual focus cinematic feel, the manual focus ring is so butter smooth. It's butter smooth on the EF lenses, but when you compare it to this, it's definitely a step up. I mean, it's so smooth. I don't know, I really enjoyed using it. I was shooting a wedding with a buddy of mine, Mitch, and just manually focusing was so beautiful. And paired with the R, where you have focus peaking as well as focus guide. Kind of going into the video mode, this is probably one con. It's hard to say because it's sort of a design factor, but if you guys are shooting photos, which is fine, you typically might not use the tripod collar. I don't like to use a tripod collar if I'm shooting photos, but for video, I typically like to have the camera balanced towards the middle. That's basically how fluid heads work. That's how any kind of video head works, is where you want the center of gravity to kind of be towards the middle. So that's where I'll use the tripod collar. And I know some videographers do this. They'll have the mount here and they'll just mount it this way, but then what happens is this becomes too front heavy. Especially if you zoom out to like 200, then it'll just kind of force itself down, especially if you have a fluid head on and you're just running that way. So it's a little bit of a problem. So what I typically do is I'll have this collar and this is the 7200 with the collar mounted. So you'll notice that the collar is like right under there, very close. I think it's like that on the 7200. However, the difference with this lens is the fact that the throw distance from 70 to 200 is quite a bit longer. It takes a little bit more while. It takes about a turn and a half to get from 70 to 200. Now on the old EF version, I didn't have that issue because you can just kind of do like half a turn, not half a turn, but like just a little bit, just kind of like that throw, and you're at 200 range. Now with this compact design of the 7200, you can't do that. You need a turn and a half. And what happens when you are balancing your 7200 on the head is the tripod collar actually blocks you from twisting the lens from 70 to 200. So it's definitely something to think about if you guys are shooting video in a very fast-paced environment such as a wedding. So let's just say you can imagine, I'll do it this way, you can imagine if I'm shooting something closer up and I need to punch in really quickly, like in a wedding, which happens all the time, and you can't. So what I could do maximum right here is I can go from 70 to about 135. From 135, I need to turn once again, but you can't do that turn because the collar is blocking you. So something to consider if you guys are shooting video, or for me, I might just have to turning my zoom this way from the top. So it might just be kind of a custom, you have to kind of get used to the lens. I'm just so used to shooting with the 7200 where it's just instant to 200. This, you might just have to change your grip a little bit to kind of get that feel. So yeah, the throw is definitely something to kind of get used to get to that 200 range. So yeah, I mean, as photographers, you guys might not have that issue. Just take the collar off and you have full range of motion to go from 70 to 200. I typically shoot dual body, and I'll have one of my holster mounts to kind of be under the tripod collar, again, just for that balance. However, the lens is so light, I might not use that. I don't know. Another sweet thing about the 7200, and I didn't know when I purchased it, was the minimum focusing distance. Now, for both photo and video, it's just nice to have a lens this small that can go this far, that has about a 2-foot minimum focusing distance. Now, the EF version, you had to be at least a meter or 3.5 feet or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was about 3 feet to get that to lock onto that minimum focusing distance. With this new RF version with the 7200, it's about 2 feet, a little over 2 feet. And that's a pretty big deal. So if you guys are wedding photographers, portrait photographers, or even doing video, when you are in a tight space, that's nice to kind of get that minimum focusing distance and just get that. Nice to be able to really pack this into your bag, and it being so light that you have a focal length in this range. I mean, 7200 2.8 used to be, a brick in your bag. Now it's really small, nice, compact. I was able to take it everywhere with me. I was in the city for about 4 hours or so, and I didn't feel anything. It was such a pleasure to use. So as mentioned in the other video, it does have a 77mm thread, which is really nice because you can use your old filters if you guys are upgrading from the EF version onto this lens, and it works well. Beautiful thing is you can actually use the lens hood, which I'll be honest, I personally haven't used myself, but if you guys are using anything with a rotating ring, you can use this little door here, and you can turn your circular polarizer or your ND filter if you have a variable ND filter. Really nice option. I don't really use hoods all that much, but I might consider it. I did try to fit my 85mm thread filter in there because it said that you can actually fit it with this lens. It's 77, but you can still fit an 82mm thread filter, which you can fit in here, but I couldn't get my hands in there, so I have no idea how they're, I don't even know how you can fit. So yeah, guys, is this lens right for you? Well, if you guys travel a lot, if you guys are working remotely, if you guys are using the 7200 very often, and you're into the R series of cameras for Canon, this definitely might be a worthwhile investment. It is a big one. It's $2,700 plus taxes, depending on where you live. But I think for me, it was worth it. I would begin to travel a little bit more. I want to kind of get more dope shots everywhere I go. So having something like this in your bag that can also fit vertically, by the way, is a big plus. Is there anything wrong with shooting the 7200 EF version? Absolutely not. Beautiful lens, gorgeous images, and it's a workhorse lens, so there's really nothing wrong with that. But moving forward, we all know that Canon is going in this direction with the RF system. So yeah, I mean, you know, if it works out for you, you guys can pick it up. If it doesn't, and you guys want to stick with the EF version and use an adapter, totally worth it too, because I think a lot of people are probably going to have a lot of lenses out on eBay or something like that, where you guys can pick it up at probably a bargain price. So yeah, hey guys, if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and you know, hit the notification bell. If you guys are interested in purchasing this lens, I will leave a link in the description below where you can pick yours up. And that's all I have for you guys. I'll see you in the next video.